Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and much appreciated you guys swinging by the channel and hanging out with me a little bit. And guys, I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I've sort of been biting my tongue on doing it a little bit, but it's come to the point now where there's so many people that are in agreement with me on this that we're going to go ahead and do it. And I'm going to make the case that the Missouri Department of Conservation is failing Missouri Fisheries, and not only the Missouri Department of Conservation, but a lot of different conservation departments for different state agencies across the country. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. Guys, quick reminder, just want to thank everybody out there that's taking time to hit that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. You know, we hit 150,000 subscribers last week, so a big thank you for that. And a quick reminder, guys, Tackle Warehouse has got a bargain bin sale now. They got a big sale across the whole website on tackle. If you guys are wanting to take advantage of that bargain bin sale, I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. You guys can click on that and use it, and that'd be much appreciated. So thank you very much for that. Okay, you guys have heard me talk about this for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been harping on the fact that fishing has declined in Missouri. Unbelievable. Fishing is tougher now than it's ever been in the state. I'm a lifelong Missouri resident, guys. I fished ever since the late 1960s. I fished all over the state here. And as somebody that has spent a life bass fishing, 50 years plus, professional tournament angler, not only, across the country, but local and regional events, I can tell you guys, and I'm not saying this just to hear myself talk, the fishing in Missouri has declined unbelievably just the last 2 or 3 years. There is a noticeable, undeniable decline in the quality of fishing in the state of Missouri. And I thought, first of all, it was just me and a few handful of my buddies, because a lot of my buddies that have fished the state like I have, we sort of talk and we all in agreement with this. But I have gotten more and more people. When I go to these BFL tournaments here in the Ozark Division, I have people come up to me all the time and reiterate that about how bad the fishing sucks here now. And then when I talk about that, you guys, around the country, you tell me the same things about how fishing's tougher than it's ever been. Now, I put a lot of the blame on this on the Missouri Department of Conservation. In fact, I'm going to tag them in this particular video, so hopefully they'll watch it there. And what the deal is I just think that they are disconnected from the reality of what's going on. You can't equate like having a college degree in fisheries biology to the reality of the situation that we have in our Missouri lakes right here. The only people that are really, versed on speaking about that are people like myself and other anglers out there that have spent a lifetime, fishing Missouri waters, and we've seen the progression. We've seen, all of the changes that's occurred on our lake, and we've seen different cycles of fishing. And this isn't a cycle. This is not a natural cycle that we're in right now, because I remember back in the early 2000s, we had largemouth bass virus that came in here in the state, and it affected fishing, a little bit, for a couple of years with that. Didn't really affect the other species, but the largemouth bass, got tough to catch. This is something completely different that we're dealing with right now. These fish, back then, a lot of the fish you caught, they would be sick or something like that. We're not dealing with that now. We're dealing with the fact that the fish are just not there. And we're also dealing with the fact that the Missouri Department of Conservation is dragging their feet and they're not being honest with themselves, and they're not, accepting the reality of what is challenging our sport, which is forward-facing sonar, too much heavy fishing pressure, the fact that we're having a lot of bass killed in bass tournaments, especially even more now than ever with the bear trauma issues from live scope and forward-facing sonar that is being utilized so heavily here in the state of Missouri. And then you have the people that eat bass right now in the state of Missouri are at an all-time high. I can tell you that for sure. So you've got more bass eaters, you got more tournaments, you've got forward-facing sonar that is creating all these problems along the side, and the conservation departments aren't doing nothing about it. They say they do creel studies, but guys, if you're with the Department of Conservation, don't think that you can pull up to some Jimmy Joe, Jim Fred up on the lake and ask him how many bass he caught that day and expect that to be some type of scientific data. You're not getting, how do you even know you're getting the truth with that? And another thing with that is like, where are all the agents out there? Like I said, I have fished Stockton Lake and Table Rock Lake my entire life for 50 years. I have never gotten stopped before on Stockton Lake and asked for a license or had my creel limits checked. Maybe at Table Rock Lake like once or twice over the course of 50 years I've been stopped. We need more enforcement on this water. And the problem you have with this, it seems like we have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend on parades and stuff like that, but we can't put them back into our fisheries. And this is a direct problem of the fact that our state senators and our state congresspeople, the elected officials within the state of Missouri and other states out there, they have a responsibility to fund these agencies efficiently. And right now, the Missouri Department of Conservation is obviously underfunded or understaffed because they do not have agents out in the field. I would like to know how many square miles that one Missouri Department of Conservation agent actually is responsible for. I bet it would shock you to know how big of a territory they have, and they can't monitor everything. So in essence, think about it. If you're a dude out there that doesn't really go by the laws that much and you're a bass eater, there's nothing to stop you from keeping as many fish as you want to, because the odds of you getting checked by a conservation agent are practically little to none, especially these guys that know how to do it clandestinely. They go out at night or flame out on the lake or whatever they do. I don't know what the deal is. But nevertheless, we got a serious problem here. And another thing that I have noticed with this is the conservation departments out there, they are dragging their feet on this whole forward-facing sonar thing, trying to compile data, this and that. Let me give you guys a little piece of advice here. When you're talking about ensuring the sustainability and the quality of fishing moving forward in the state of Missouri or any other state, you tell me one thing that forward-facing sonar does to ensure that sustainability. It'd be zero like that, but you know what it does to degrade and decline the quality of fishing in the state? Everything. It's happened the last 2 or 3 years, and it is a direct result of that. You can't, it's like if a duck quacks, it's probably duck. And if you draw a correlation between the unbelievable heavy use of forward-facing sonar in the state of Missouri and Missouri lakes, which are all inclined to that type of fishing, and then the direct decline in the quality of fishing in the state, and then the direct association about the number of anglers that the fish that they catch are directly attributed to using forward-facing sonar, and then you add the bear trauma issues, and then you add the delayed mortality with that. What are they waiting on? Why is it so difficult for the Missouri Department of Conservation to just ban the use of forward-facing sonar in Missouri lakes to ensure the sustainability and the future and the quality of our fisheries? Who do you think you're going to piss off? Who do you think you're going to offend? I can promise you, if you do that, you're going to get the support of the majority of the bass anglers in the state. Same with the crappie. You guys are letting this forward-facing sonar just go hog wild with the crappie anglers. There's not a crappie fisherman in the state of Missouri out there anymore that doesn't use forward-facing sonar to catch crappie with. And these crappie are not infinite. You guys think that there's an infinite amount of crappie out there, and they're not. If you have more people on the water than ever, utilizing this technology, getting their limits every single day, what do you think the result is going to be? I mean, it doesn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together with that. So here's my advice to the Missouri Department of Conservation. If you guys want to ensure the sustainability of the fisheries, number one is you guys need to start pressuring Missouri Congress people and Missouri senators to get more funding for your organizations, to get more boots on the ground, to get more people watching what's going on here. Because I can assure you, all you have to, there are so many people that go to these creeks and streams and all this type of stuff that are keeping fish above their limits, not with any concern about the creel limit. You guys aren't dealing with that. That's the number one thing with that. Number two with it, you have got to start focusing on increasing habitat and forage in our lakes. It's like the only way you're going to combat heavy fishing pressure is through stocking and forage and habitat. You got to have that. And just dumping a bunch of Christmas trees into Table Rock Lake is not what I'm talking about with it. And the third one with that, or 2 other things with that, is you got to start limiting the number of bass tournaments in Missouri. There are way too many bass tournaments. You guys let, whoever wants to have a tournament, there can be 10 tournaments going on at Table Rock Lake on any given weekend, and all that stuff adds up. And finally, until you outlaw forward-facing sonar, which you have the authority to do that as a state agency, you have the ability to ban the use of forward-facing sonar in our lakes, because you do it with other type of technology with hunting. You know, you don't allow drones and, you know, infrared stuff with hunting out there. You can do the same with bass. Until you start acknowledging the reality of the situation, you know, it's going to continue to deteriorate. And all you have to do is monitor, you know, social media on this. You can see the people that actually are out there fishing all the time complaining about how the fishing's tougher than it's ever been. And I've never seen this before. I mean, like I said, I've fished here my whole life, and I've never seen the number of complaints about the degradation in the quality of our fishing as there is in the state of Missouri right now. So you can just you can stick your head in the sand about it, do whatever you want to, but you guys aren't doing your job right now. And I hate to have to say that, because I have a lot of respect for conservation officers, but I also understand as a professional angler things that you guys do not understand. Like I said, you can't go and get a 4-year fisheries biologies degree and not have any dirt time under your belt or have any type of history to compare it to and say the fisheries are healthy, because they're not. I'll challenge any one of you dudes out there that are conservation department. Let's go out to Table Rock Lake in August, and we'll put some traditional bass fishing lures on, spinner baits, crankbaits, jigs, whatever, with no technology. We'll just go fishing out there, and we'll see how many fish we catch. You'll understand real quick how the fishing sucks in the state right now compared to what it was, you know, 15, 20, 30 years ago. So this is a problem we can fix. I mean, this isn't some like, you know, deal that, you know, it's just the way it is. Number one, ban forward-facing sonar. Number two, reduce the number of tournaments in the state. Make it where these tournament organizations have to really, you know, stagger out the tournaments, and they have to file for all the correct permits, all that type of stuff. Number three, get more habitat in the lake. Number four, get more agents in the field. Number five, start realizing the fact that there are more bass eaters in the state than there's ever been, and that's having an impact on this state. So when you combine bass eaters with delayed mortality from tournaments, with barotrauma issues from live scope, and all the other predation that takes place naturally, you can see why fishing sucks so bad in the state right now. So anyway, guys, let me know what y'all think about it. We'll talk later.